Since 1826, the Lutheran Theological Seminary at Gettysburg has sustained a vigorous and pioneering graduate and professional theological education, producing more than 5,300 leaders who have served in church and world. Among theological schools of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, Gettysburg is unique in its historic setting atop Seminary Ridge, known throughout the world for its part in the Great Battle of the Civil War. One of the most important marks of a church's commitment to Christ appears in the way it forms its leaders. Gettysburg Seminary shapes leaders with one of the most robust learning environments in theological education anywhere, where faithful and inspiring teaching places the gospel tradition directly in the context of the challenges of the real world. Gettysburg Seminary believes that leadership emerges from a deep commitment to listening and learning.
When I walk towards chapel daily and see so many students making daily chapel a part of their seminary week, I'm always grateful and realize I made the right choice. It didn't take me very long once I got here in community, in the classroom, in the practical integrated seminars, as well as with the kind of student body that it was, for me to realize that this was the right place.
A recent graduate, Chad Rimmer, served Union Lutheran Church in York, Pennsylvania, and exercised his gifts for ministry in a challenging urban setting.
My experience at Gettysburg taught me many things about my own faith, the faith of our church, but in all areas, biblical studies, church history, field education, preaching and homiletics, and all the areas of the curriculum. I feel like the greatest tools that were imparted were the ability to interpret theologically what's going on in the life of the church, in the faith and life of God's people.
Highly skilled, mission-minded pastors, proclaimers, and servant leaders of God's gospel come from wise teaching and thoughtful preparation.
Gettysburg's tradition has been multivalent. It has incorporated a long, long history, and it's a very interesting one, of engagement with the nation's story, an engagement with the multiple streams of immigrant Lutheran history, engagement with urban ministry. It's been one of the pioneers in urban ministry and engaging the social ministries of the church.
Gettysburg graduate hopefully has a love and passion for parish ministry, and in various contexts. That's been very integral to the education process here at Gettysburg. That I rejoice with.
I suppose the institutional cliche is that we have academic and theological education preparing leaders for the church, but from my biblical studies perspective, and what I like to teach is hopefully an appreciation for and a love for Scripture and a heart for the gospel.
The seminary has in recent years expanded its scope of teaching to include theological education with youth.
TEY is encouraging young people to go and to find, both locally and globally, issues with which they, as baptized Christians, can become engaged with. TEY is an empowerment, I believe. It's an encouragement for young people to hear that they have their own voice, as you've heard from these up here, and encouraging them to go out and to use their voice, to know that even though they're young, that they have gifts.
Enrollment at Gettysburg Seminary has grown by 50% in the last 5 years, stretching the faculty and facilities of this marvelous place. This seminary must now expand the teaching capacity with new levels of support and its housing capacity with another 50 units. Scholarship capacity is strained by this new enrollment level, and it is also critical that annual giving to the seminary increase proportionately.
Today, we continue to be inspired by this rich heritage of nearly 2 centuries of sending excellent leaders into the church. We've been blessed with remarkable growth the past half-dozen years. Our board of directors, the faculty, and I are committed to continue this growth in order to send even more leaders into the church of tomorrow. In order to do so, we are launching this bold Crossroads campaign. It will enable us to expand student housing on our campus, to undergird and support our already excellent faculty, and to sustain our exciting theological education with youth programs, as well as the Luther Institute in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. All of this will be possible with your generous support of the Crossroads campaign. I thank you in advance for joining in this exciting and ambitious venture.
The seminary's growth has been driven by the excellence of its teaching and learning environment. But since tuition covers less than a quarter of the true cost of education, Gettysburg Seminary must strengthen and develop new resources to meet the challenges of theological education in order to sustain both this excellence and the critical growth.
I came to seminary thinking about service. What I've received is much more than I could ever have imagined. Education, certainly, but so much more, with new knowledge and skill for ministry, and the challenge and confidence to become a leader who can serve real congregations ready to move ahead in their mission. As students focused in on study, we don't see all the people who support this excellent seminary program. But I now know that there is a cloud of witnesses in this life and beyond, individuals and congregations who make the mission of Gettysburg Seminary possible. I hope you will find the support of future ministry inspiring, for you support my call and those of many others to serve the Church of Jesus Christ when you give to Gettysburg Seminary.
Gettysburg Seminary is a stimulating and rigorous school of faith for the church. It is a leading steward of future leaders of the church. We are young and old, traditional and forward-thinking, confident in faith, thankful for what we have, and yet hopeful for what we will yet become. All these dynamic characteristics come together in one fascinating place, a crossroad. In fact, the crossroad of history and hope, where leading, teaching, serving, and growing, Gettysburg Seminary shapes the church's leaders, past, present, and future.